Hi.
Hello. Welcome back to Shower Talk with Tina and Norm. Why are you laughing?
Because you're so funny. You're so animated. I love it.
Yeah. I guess it's better than you being aggravated because I'm animated, emanated, and laminated. I don't know. It's going to be a rap episode, apparently. That would be terrible, actually. Episode 65.
Yes.
Small stuff, big picture.
Yes.
Okay. Thank God.
Yeah.
We discussed it like, I don't know how many times, and I just kept forgetting it. You know why? Here's the deal, people. This magic doesn't just happen. Okay? It does not happen. I just hooked up these lights because in the last episode in the video, the one light died because I hadn't charged it and I thought I would be good. And I got tired of charging them. So I bought these bigger Govee lights.
Thank you for putting them up.
You're welcome. And they're plugged in, so I don't have to worry about them dying.
Done.
Plus, I can control them from my phone because, that's just how
Even
things are done now.
There.
Yeah, I don't, meaning when we're done, if I need to change colors, because I was clicking one remote and then it would change this light and that light, but it wasn't doing them. And I'm like, oh, shit, how am I getting back to the light that I want?
That's fun.
But they're fancy, but not crazy expensive, which
we're
is
moving
good.
on up.
That's moving on. With all of our money we're making online, which is zero. But no, I mean, we have like three iPhone cameras that we use. One of them's my actual phone. Plus we have two hanging lights. We have a ring light in the middle. These two lights, two video games, a duck light, a table lamp, and a partridge in a pear tree. No. Anyway, it's my whole entire point about that bullshit rant there was you were figuring out titles and that kind of stuff, and I'm messing around with this stuff, and I'm paying attention, but I can't put the brain power into coming up with being creative at that time.
Welcome to the inner workings of Tina and Norm.
That's right. A little behind the scenes, if you will. Most of the people that listen know us, so I think they already have kind of
They're
behind
we already
the
know
scenes.
that.
Yeah, no shit, you're all over the place. Screw you guys. Anyway, so yeah, episode 65. Crazy 65.
Awesome.
What's the purpose? What is the idea behind this podcast, Tina?
So this one came about because I was talking to someone the other day who we were talking about the end of the year coming up and people doing resolutions and all that kind of stuff. And I had said to him, it's really funny how people put these, let's call them, I don't know, even know what to call them, because to a certain extent, they almost become limitations, right? To a certain extent.
Yeah.
Not on purpose and not with ill intentions, but they kind of become limitations. So like, for example, his goal is to lose, he wants to lose like 40 pounds, 40 pounds or something like that, which sounds like a lot. In reality, you're like, oh my God, 40 pounds. So I think there's a part of you where your mind is like, oh my God, I got to lose 30 or 40 pounds. And then you go hard at it. Like, you start working out really hard, even though you haven't worked out in 5 years, or, you start eating like super strict and you haven't been doing that. Like you've been eating whatever you want and drinking and smoking and do whatever. Like literally you go from a sedentary lifestyle to suddenly you're going to kick yourself into this hardcore, I'm going to lose weight. And I feel like that's setting yourself up for failure. And my comment to him was, and it doesn't matter how like you can have the goals are important. I think what we miss out on is the goals need to be smaller goals. So like if you say to yourself, you have to lose 40 pounds, that's great.
Right.
But you're going to lose it either 1 pound at a time, 5 pounds at a time, or 10 pounds at a time. Sounds so much better. And when you get to, you lost 5 pounds, you're like, damn, now I only have to lose 35 pounds. So it's like a little bit of a celebration along with, you're getting to the goal. You're just not running, you're walking there.
Sure.
And the reality is that part of it is you're learning along the way. Like you're learning that it's okay if you trip up, if you woke up one morning and you didn't go to the gym, or you only did 20 minutes of exercise instead of 40 minutes. You still did 20. Like, it's like the whole, and that's what I did for myself back in, zillion years ago. Well, a zillion years ago when I dropped a lot of weight, I gave myself the credit for, I stopped at the gym in between being busy and did 15 minutes on the treadmill or the bike or whatever, instead of not going at all. Like, so I gave myself credit for that. Or if I went out and had, fries with my burger, then when I went to the gym the next day, I did an extra half an hour that I would normally do on the bike because I ate French fries. There was it wasn't a punishment. It was a balancing, right?
Yeah,
and because my mindset said that, it was the whole mindset part of it, right? Because that was the other interesting part, is a little bit came from that one podcast that we listened to about when you put your mind in a certain mindset, it's like it locks in there, and any deviation from that looks like a failure when that's not the case at all.
No, right. I agree. And I think, obviously it's New Year's Eve as we're recording this.
Yay.
And a lot of people at this time of year make a lot of resolutions. Now, kudos to those that make resolutions and have goals to try and achieve. I think they're bullshit, but that's just me. I don't go into setting goals. I don't like setting goals. It's just who I am. And I think that's a corporate thing mentality that's why I don't like it.
What's your 5-year plan?
Right. Oh God.
Yeah.
It's to kill you and get away with it for the rest of my life. Ask me that question again, asshole. So I hate it, right? I understand the purpose, and I do understand and can appreciate when folks want to do, resolutions and have goals at the beginning of the year. It's a new year. It's a fresh start of things. However, I think what happens is a lot of people they bite off more than they can chew.
Correct.
Okay. What's the adage? Like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, or whatever it is, right? I probably just bastardized that whole thing, but that's the idea.
Yeah.
If your goal is to lose 30 pounds, you didn't get there overnight.
Correct.
Okay. You probably didn't even get there this whole last year.
Right.
You probably started 3 years ago, and now you've realized, oh shit, I'm a little sluggish. I can't, carry the groceries in without my heart pounding like a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And it scares the shit out of you. So you're like, okay, I need to make some changes. Right. Or anything.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if it's, like we've talked about doing some more marketing together and even separately for real estate stuff and lending, whether it's a standard home mortgage, reverse mortgages, whatever, refis, whatever. That's not something you typically do. It's definitely not something I normally do. It's not been a focus, but we know in order to create more business, we have to do some marketing like that. But I'm not going to go, spend $5,000 and hit every neighborhood I possibly can. No, I'm going to start and be consistent with marketing to a certain couple of neighborhoods where I would like to work in, and continue to do that as well as my own neighborhood. Right.
Yeah.
You can't, because first off, you blow your whole budget for the year and one time isn't going to get it. Right. But you're going to be frustrated. And you go, this marketing shit doesn't work. It's a stupid. I can't even believe I fell for this bullshit. I don't know what everybody's talking about.
It's true.
It's what happens.
Well, yeah, because you're excited and gung-ho. That's the part that makes me kind of sad, or I feel kind of sad for people, is because again, the intention that's there is good. It's just you jump in, like, and I'm the first person to say I jump in fucking head first and all body in, like I'm an all in kind of person. However, I've also been able to look back on my life and go, yeah, if I would have just stretched that out a little longer, if I would have just not done it. Like we just talked about it the other day where I said, last year I had surgery and then the recovering, and I had to make sure that everything fused. So there was a lot of things I was limited from doing. And then of course, starting a new job and all this other stuff that was happening. So the whole year went by. Yeah. I didn't do, I mean, we walked once in a while, but not really.
No.
There was really
Right.
not a whole hell of a lot of exercise going on.
Right.
So we were talking the other day and I had said, like, I really want to lift weights and all that, but I also know myself, I'm one of those people that's all like, yeah, let's go. Yeah. And then the next day I'm like, oh, I hurt my arm, or it's not even about being sore. It's more like, oh, I think I tore something, or, oh, because I go so hard to prove to myself that look what I did. And it's the mindset is, if you're doing smaller things, they still all add up. So if you do one small thing every day, right, that's still 30 to 31 different things you did in a month.
Right.
That's a lot.
Right. Especially when you went from 0 to something.
It's like, and so I think that's what prompted this whole thing was, it's because there's one of my favorite Wayne Dyer speeches he makes, and he talks about people who quit smoking and how people get really upset with themselves because, let's say, they're smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. What is that, like 20 cigarettes? They're smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, and then they go cold turkey, which most of the time fails several times before they're able to actually find the right way to do it or whatever, right? I mean, it's an addiction.
Absolutely.
However, he says stopping smoking happens by putting one less cigarette a day into your mouth. So if you smoked 19 cigarettes today instead of 20, you still smoked one less. And then the next day you only smoked 18. And some people might think that's silly. 30 days later, you're not smoking anymore. And you did it one cigarette at a time by not putting it in your mouth. It's the whole thing about mindset, because mindset is what we're locked into. It's like, it has a hold on you, and it's something that you can easily change if you show yourself that there's more than one way to get to what you're trying to get to.
And you have to be able to see the win in that.
Correct.
That's the problem.
Yes, I'm one of those people.
People don't see the win in making those changes and creating that as a habit.
Yeah.
They see it as a loss.
Right.
We all feel like we're stronger, right? Most of us. I can't speak for everybody, but on some level, I think most people think they are, or they feel they should be stronger than that. Okay.
Right.
I should be able to put that pack of cigarettes down and not let it control me. Well, we also know that using cigarettes as an example, you're fucked because they are addictive. They were designed to be addictive. That's different. Sugar is the same way.
Oh God, yeah.
Right? Yep. So those are harder habits to kick. And in even drug abuse, obviously, that's a whole different story, and it's a whole different unhealthy habit. Most people aren't going, into the new year going, well, my New Year's resolution is to do one less dose of heroin today. That's not what's happening, right? That's different.
Right.
It's a very different challenge. But when it comes to other things that don't fall into that kind of category, we put this on ourselves that we should be stronger than that. And then when we're not, we just fail. And then what happens? We go and just do more of it because we're like, okay, fuck it.
Yeah. You're exactly right. You feel like, oh, I'm not going to, or, like my favorite, and I'm someone who's done this in the past, you put yourself on this really strict eating plan and exercise plan or whatever. And then one day you decide for whatever reason, you're like, fuck it, I'm going to eat a piece of cake or something. Yeah. And then sometimes you're like, well, I ate a piece of cake already. Might as well eat.
I ruined it.
I might as well just go ahead and have some Cheetos or, and before you know it, you went from, you one little treat or, whatever. I'm not going to call it a mistake or a cheat. I'm going to call it indulgence because the word cheat also sounds bad. No. So you gave yourself a break or grace, whatever you want to call it, indulgence. And but then you keep going because you're like, Yeah,
it's fucked already.
I already fucked it up and it's okay. And then all of a sudden one day turns into 2, turns into 3. And then before you know it, you're back in your same old habits. Right. And again, I say that because I'm someone who's done that many times over my life where, people do it with their credit cards. They pay off their credit card and they have no balance on their credit card. And then they're like, they went and bought something and then then they buy something else and they're like, I already have $1,000 on it. What's another 500? And before you know it, now you got $9,000 in credit card. I mean, that's that's the way it happens. And it happens so fast because you don't, again, things add up over time. So just like the negative things, like we just talked about, can add up over time.
Yeah.
The positive things can add up over time, but we don't ever look at it that way.
No, we don't focus on it.
Because our minds are always meant to focus on the fucking negative.
Right.
So the positive is just like paying extra towards your credit card, your balance comes down versus the other way, right? Or not eating Cheetos and cake in the day. You might have still had cake, but you didn't eat the Cheetos.
Right.
And so again, it's one of those where, and you have to give yourself, the self-talk is, like, I remember being at the store and going, I really want the Chicago mix popcorn. But I saw it and I was like, that shit's really good. I have to be in the mood for it. And I saw it and I was like, that sounds really good. And I already had Poppables in the cart. And then I had the two of them, and then I go, no, I get one or the other, but I can't have both.
Right.
And it wasn't a punishing thing. That's where the discipline part came in, right? So I put one away. I kept the popcorn. I put the Poppables back, and then made sure that I was watching, grabbing a handful or however it was, not eating the whole bag in one sitting. But I was proud of myself for that. It's because, again, we overlook those little things, but that was a healthy move. Parking my car all the way at the end of going all the way to the end and then walking through the parking lot. I'm getting steps in all the way to the parking lot instead of driving around and waiting to find a close-up spot and run in, whatever. It's like, those are the little things. Taking the stairs instead of the elevator.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think we take those things for granted.
We do because we don't think about them as, plus those are also habits.
They are.
It's a habit to look for the closest space, because if you find the closest space, it's like winning, right?
I think that's a big
It is. It's like, I got the one up front. Look at that. Yeah, that never happens. Oh, fucking score. Okay, yeah. All right. And go in and get you some Chicago mix popcorn, right? I agree. And these aren't things that a lot of folks probably haven't heard before.
Right.
But I think we look at them differently depending on where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Who's saying it, how they're saying it,
Agreed.
I think sometimes people don't want to see the fitness model giving you
Agreed
food advice.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Nobody does.
Although they're probably the ones that got there, and they probably weren't, a lot of them weren't always necessarily fitness models. Some of them.
That's what they need to share then, is that part.
Agreed.
The journey that helps people understand they're not
alone.
And
they get lost in that.
Correct.
Sometimes I think their focus is off sometimes.
Yep.
We're not talking about, if people ever saw the show The Biggest Loser, those guys went really extreme on their diets, and they had to, though. They were in very unhealthy places.
Yeah.
If you have to go extreme, then go extreme, but have some discipline and also have some forgiveness, because today, like you said, normally you might, if you have to go extreme and you've got to work out hours a day, but you can't get it in that day, then you can't get it in that day. Your body's going to hold on to whatever it needs to anyhow. So you have to be able to be okay with it.
Right.
The other thing that I was thinking about was a couple weeks ago, we were hanging out with our friend group, right? It's mix of friend and family. And in our text, several of them are like, oh, by this date, we're going hard. We're doing carnivore and blah, we're getting back on this. And, and some of them have done it successfully before, and they go off, of course, and then we go off the rails. That's what we do. But a couple people, one person specifically had some health stuff pop up recently. And I think we even said, well, no shit. You drink a few times a week, probably, several cocktails or glasses of wine or whatever it is. You eat like shit, and you don't exercise.
Right.
Well, and you don't sleep great. And you don't sleep
great. You're getting older, even though you're
getting older.
You're younger.
Right.
I know. That's
right. No, we all think we're still 25. I mean, I'm 53 and I still think like a young person. I think I can go, run hurdles on a fucking track somewhere. I'll probably throw a hip out of joint or something. But so I was having a conversation with her, and there, by the way, there's no judgment in this at all, because it's real.
Yeah.
It's the truth. We drink, when we hang out sometimes. Some of us drink more, some of us drink less. It all depends on the day too. Yeah. We don't necessarily all eat the greatest, especially if we go out, we're looking for the most decadent, delicious shit we can find to eat. Mm-hmm. And we send it to each other like, oh, we all got to go there.
Right.
So we're all doing it, but to discover that you have some health stuff almost felt like she was shocked by it, or it was jarring maybe because she hadn't seen it. And it's like, it's like it's we always laugh about, your dad, well, I don't go to the doctor because every time I go, they find something. Right. No shit.
Yeah.
Because the last time you went was 9 years ago and they found something then. So that's just the trend. Right. I don't ever brush my teeth. And every time I go to the dentist, he finds a damn cavity. Oh, well, no shit. So no surprise there, but I think it was jarring because now it's real.
Well, yes. And that's what a lot of people do with their credit.
Yeah.
When I talk to people, they think their credit's a certain way, or I know I don't, didn't always pay my bills on time or whatever. And you could just hear the hesitation. And then when their credit gets pulled, it's like, okay, then you see either really, really mm-hmm. bad. And then they're like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought. And you're like, you don't pay anything on time.
Right. Right.
Like ever. And they're like, well, I thought it was going to be worse than that.
Right.
Okay. And then you have other people who think it's going to be really, really bad and it's good. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
But it also goes back to the balances. Oh, I've got about $5,000 in credit card debt, and you run their credit and it's like more like $35,000.
Right.
And they're like, what? Because they're just paying the bill. Most people have them on auto pay to pay the minimum, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah,
but they're not looking at the balances. Yeah. And again, like you said, no judgment. It's just until you know. And that's why I think sometimes people don't want to.
Right.
Because then because the reality is that once you've seen it,
you can't unsee
You can't,
it.
Right. But you also now have a choice. Do you keep going down that path?
Right.
Or do you make the changes that you need to make if you feel you need to make them?
Yeah.
So you said it earlier. You said some people, it depends on how you're told or whatever, who's doing it. If you're good with carrying balances, like I'm someone who hates credit card debt. However, I'm willing to carry credit card debt if I'm paying 0% interest.
Sure. Right.
So I will carry balances. Don't care. I'll make extra payments. Sometimes maybe it's the minimum, but mostly just because I'm not paying any interest.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But some people are okay with having the debt because they needed to, whatever. They can afford the monthly payments. It doesn't matter to them. They're not chasing to get it paid off, or they're living comfortably, and it's okay. And again, nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
Because that's your life and your choices that you're making. However, if you think you only owe $5,000 and you owe $35,000,
there's a problem.
And now you find out that and now you find out you've got $35,000. What does that do to you mentally? I guess, right? Yeah. So I think that's why a lot of times people have the ostrich syndrome, where they'd rather keep their head in the sand. That's usually for, weight, medical issues, and finances. Right. Like that's the biggest thing. And
then relationship
issues, and of course. But I mean, and again, it's once you know it's there, now you're held accountable, whether you're holding yourself accountable or someone else is holding you accountable, whether it's a spouse or family member or whoever. Right. But it has to be your decision, not someone else's, right?
Correct.
So, like, remember I was saying a couple of years ago, someone was like, oh, you look like you lost some weight, and I didn't. Yeah. And I said, yeah, I'm trying, but I was like, why am I even saying that? Right. I'm not trying. Yeah. I know, but it was like, I was lying to myself. And so then I realized it. So I was like, no, I'm not saying that anymore. And maybe I did look like I lost a few pounds, but I wasn't trying. Right. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't watching what I was eating. I was just living and being stressed out. And so, yeah, as funny as that sounds, it has to be your idea and in your time. And, and you're the one that's making the choice, not someone pushing it on you. Because I think that's also where it becomes, like, mentally for people, that's where it becomes a little more locked in the box than, oh my God, if I don't lose weight, my husband's not going to love me anymore, or my wife's not going to want to be with me anymore. Like, it starts, feeding all this stuff, and it just kind of, So that's why you can't go straight to the big.
Right.
This is why
it's hard.
Correct. And that's why those little things though. And so the other part we talked about with this wasn't just that. It was changes people make in their relationships. Remember, was the other part of it was if you have a discussion with your partner about leaving their clothes on the floor. I'm just going to use a stupid thing. So if I said to you, it really bothers me that you come home and leave your clothes on the floor.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even realize I was doing it or whatever. So we'd have this conversation. And then you, let's say for the next 2 weeks, you didn't leave your clothes on the floor. And I'm grateful because I communicated it bothered me. You changed it, right? So I mean, an easy change, right? But then let's say one day you came home, you were tired, whatever, and you left your clothes on the floor.
Okay.
And then I got mad because you said you were going to change this and you put your clothes on the floor. You can't, that was one time out of the last however that you did that, right? Now, if if it became a pattern again where you were doing it again, that's different.
Sure.
I've seen people get pissy with their person or their kids or whoever because they went back, quote unquote, and they did something they did before and the person got triggered by it and got upset. And then now here's the issue. The person that already was making the change is kind of like, well, what the fuck? I'm already putting in the effort. I do it one time. I slip back one time and you're going to bitch at me. Just like you slip back on the things that you do. We all slip back. I just said it. We slip back on the eating habits. You slip back on the exercise or, whatever it is that we slip back on. Sometimes we do. Why are you not giving your partner or your kids or whoever the same grace that you give yourself? That was the question that we gave.
Right.
That we
well,
had.
Because I think ultimately the answer is that person feels like a lot of people do that they can fix theirs easily because they're disciplined enough or they focus on it enough or whatever, and that's not what they do most of the time. So that's probably what it is. Oh yeah, well I can do that, but I can fix that, right? I rarely do that. But you do this all the time. Well, if the person is making the effort and has made some changes and like you said, as long as it isn't a pattern, first off, how about that couple weeks making sure that the change you can make is to let that person know you recognize that they've made the effort.
Correct.
Because then that person, even if they're tired that day, is going to go, you know what? No. It's going to take me 2 minutes extra to pick this shit up off the floor or just not even put it there.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't leave my clothes on the
No,
floor.
you don't. It was literally just picking something easy.
I'm kidding. I leave them on the side by the little thingy there.
And obviously I was choosing something easy. Funny. Like if somebody's got like a, very major issue that is dangerous or whatever, make sure you're getting the appropriate help and talking to the appropriate people. Well, this is just these day-to-day little things that people let get in the way that you make the little change on.
Two things, going back to the conversation I was having with this person with the health issues and stuff, years ago, probably 18 years ago now, Jesus. I was very overweight. I had some health issues and I had to make changes, and I did that. And it took me a couple of years to get my weight down, get healthy, be more in shape. But it started with walking on a treadmill, because if I tried to run, I would get these extreme headaches, because that's how bad it was.
Yeah.
My heart would pound like crazy, like not in a good way, you know?
Right.
But I did it. And eventually I added a little bit of jogging into it and stuff like that. So, and then, it just
little
progressed.
Changes. Correct.
Right. I also changed the way I ate. So I paid attention to, what everybody says. And I still don't know to this day how much of what is out there is true.
I know. It's hard to say.
But I switched to eating more whole grain stuff, lighter calorie things, because I was restricting myself on calories on top of exercising. But it was all this stuff, but I didn't focus on everything.
Right.
Okay. I didn't go, okay, I ate whole grain stuff, but this whole grain stuff better be low in sugar and high in protein and, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
I made the decision to switch to better quality stuff and at lower calorie content, right? So, and I would say, okay, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I was doing 500 calorie meals. And if that was an Egg McMuffin and something else for breakfast, then that's all it was. If it was, a fucking brownie, which isn't great for you, but it was still only 500 calories, I didn't worry about everything else that was in it.
Right.
Now, some health expert or whatever can listen to this and go, well, that's the wrong way to think about it.
Of course they would.
Okay. Maybe.
Yeah.
It might be. But it helped.
You
worked.
got the results.
That's correct. I did. So we could talk about it, and maybe there was or still is a better way to do it. However, it worked. And the whole point in my conversation with her was to say, you can't focus on everything.
Right.
You can't focus on how much protein you're getting on top of how many carbohydrates this has and how much sugar you're taking and how many calories it is. And is it gluten-free? Is it dairy-free? Is it, you can't focus on all these things.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Right.
You can.
Yeah, because it's overwhelming.
Correct.
And then you just say, fuck it, and you don't do anything.
Start one place.
Right. Yep.
Start with making better decisions on either the types of things you're going to be eating or calories or
movement.
One of my previous doctors told me, and I never thought about it until he said it. And then I felt stupid for not thinking about it because I never really thought about it. He said, listen, every diet that you go on, whether it's a Mediterranean diet, whether it's on keto, whether it's on carnivore, whether you do calories, whatever it is, Atkins, no matter what you go on, it is just removing something.
Yeah, that's true.
It is.
Yeah.
So if you're a carnivore, you remove everything except fucking meat.
Right.
And fat. Okay?
Yeah.
Keto, it's still kind of the same thing. It's high protein, low carbohydrate.
Yep.
Atkins, low carbohydrate, right? No sugars.
Yep.
Mediterranean is you're cutting out red meat, basically. You're having fish and olive oil and greens and that kind of stuff. All the stuff from the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
They're all just restrictions. They are just some sort of a restriction.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it. But you can't go Mediterranean, but then not want to have, other things. It's just too overwhelming.
Yeah.
So you make the little change. You pick something and focus on that.
Right.
And make smarter choices. So if you're using calorie restriction, I'm not giving health advice here, but if you're using calorie restriction, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to keep my calories at 1,800 calories a day, which is a pretty decent amount of calories. We can argue about that all day long, but it's about 1,800 calories. Ain't bad. You're going to get plenty of food. If you get some exercise in there, that's the key. You add in some exercise, you're now going to put yourself in a calorie deficit where you're going to burn it and you're going to lose weight and you're going to start feeling better and get healthier.
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
And you don't have to focus on anything else. Now, you can start making smart decisions. Go, oh, okay, well, I like to have a sandwich for lunch. So, but, bread is so calorie dense and high in carbohydrates and stuff. I can go with a lower calorie bread that only has, 40 calories or 60 calories per 2 slices versus 180. That's smart.
Right.
You're still getting food in you,
Small
sustenance
change.
and other stuff. Right. But that's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And that's what I was trying to get across to her.
Right.
I wanted her to understand, you got to, if you want to be healthy or healthier, you're going to have to cut some things out and fix it. And you can't do it all right now because she just was having all of these thoughts. And I'm like, okay, you're going to have to chill the fuck out. Like it's just going to be too much. It's going to be too much.
Yeah.
And then you're going to quote unquote fail.
Yeah.
Putting the effort in and trying isn't a failure, but it's going to feel like a failure because you didn't get to where you wanted to.
Right.
And I wish I could convince people that it's not a failure.
No. And it's more permanent because of the fact that you're learning along the way. Right. So, and I know a lot of people use this cliche about the journey, but it's true because the journey is where you learn all the lessons.
Right.
Right? So you learn that you just brought up all these different kinds of diets. No one diet is for everyone.
No.
And I've known people who started off on keto and they lost a bunch of weight on keto, but they said it wasn't sustainable for them to keep doing it. And as soon as they introduced carbs back into there, they started putting weight on. Not all their weight back, but once they started putting weight on, they got all upset about it. Then they moved on to whatever, the next one was. And it was like, and then, choosing whatever way is going to be best for your lifestyle. And I think the reality is most people will tell you the basic simple is moderation for everything.
Correct.
Like
that is correct.
Like even like Weight Watchers says you're allowed this many points in a day.
Yeah.
If you're allowed, 25 points in a day and you decide to go to Dairy Queen and get a sundae and the sundae is 25 points, congratulations, you ate a sundae for the whole fucking day.
Right.
And if that's all you ate for the whole day, again, like you said, there's going to be doctors who are shaking their heads at us, but you didn't go past, you ate way too much sugar and beyond eating all the sugar and carbs and all the other stuff, you stayed within the point value and you're still going to lose weight on Weight Watchers.
Correct.
So the reality is that as you're going through that and getting better with the little, our whole point of this is the little wins, right?
Yes.
So you start off on, let's say you're using something like Weight Watchers and you start off where you're still eating certain things that maybe people don't agree with that you are allowed to eat or should be able to eat. But it's more realistic in the sense that when you don't feel as cut off, once you start seeing the results, little by little, again, it might not be you didn't lose the whole 30, but you lost 10.
Right.
You're going, damn, my clothes fit better. I feel really good. And then all of a sudden, guess what? That brownie, that ice cream, you're like,
Or you cut the brownie in half.
Yeah,
you're like, I can do just a bite of this.
Right.
That's all I
mean,
need.
and that's what happened with us. We started, even though we're not like actively always watching.
Yeah.
For the last year or so, we share almost we'll go somewhere, we'll share a burger, we'll share a dessert. Like sometimes we don't get dessert, but if we do, or maybe just take a couple bites. That's, to me, again, in my mind, at first you're like, you're still eating it, but it's like, I only had one bite versus eating a whole piece.
Right.
That's very different. And that's a win for me personally. Yeah. Instead of just saying I didn't eat it all together. And then when you get into a certain frame of mind where you're like, wow, this feels really good. My body feels really good. It's reacting differently. It's working with me instead of against me. Yeah. You want to do more. And then you will do more, right?
Because along with that comes your mind.
Right.
Your mindset.
Absolutely.
Feels better.
You're shedding insecurities. Right. You're shedding, old narratives that you have about yourself that you can't do it, or, whoever else's, stupid bullshit is in your mind. Right. Whoever else's talking is in your mind telling you, no, you're going to fail or you can't do it. But you're shedding all that stuff along with it. Right. And it's really important that you stay focused on the fact that even a little bit is still something. Right. And I think that's what we take for granted as people. Even in relationships, in everyday life, we take that for granted.
100%. And I think, a very good example of the little things is if you, most of us know somebody that decided they wanted to run a marathon or a half marathon, and they don't run, right? They barely do a lot of walking. And they're like, you know what? I want to do this. And it's a goal, of course. But they take a year, sometimes 2 years to get that goal accomplished. Now they've done, they get some 5Ks in, and then they get a 10K in, so they build that up over time, and those are all wins along the way. And then they work on improving their times and getting there so that they can actually complete it. Sometimes some people have the goal of just completing it, and that might be they walk the whole damn thing. Yeah. And it takes them 5-6 hours to do, or longer. Some people, they can run part of it and have to walk part of it because they just aren't there yet. But their goal is to accomplish it, to get it done. Yeah. And how are they gonna get there? Right. everybody could argue a little bit different about how somebody gets that done, but those are usually somebody that's done it. They're elitist, whatever the hell it might be, or everyone they've already achieved it.
And everyone starts somewhere.
Right. Correct. But relationship stuff, to just touch on it a little bit, we talked about on the last podcast about people isolating themselves around this time of the year, right? Yeah. Around holiday times, and when everybody's all, silent night about stuff, all oh, Christmas tree, emotional and wanting to be around family and friends and that kind of stuff. But some people don't want to go deal with that. Yep. Because of whatever reason, there's a zillion reasons. Go listen to that podcast and then come back, and this part will make sense. We're not going to recap the whole damn thing, but the point being is, people worry a lot of times about going because they don't have a person in their life, but they're not making any changes to get somebody in their life.
Right.
They just keep making excuses. Oh, it's hard out there. Oh, online dating sucks. Oh, this program's just all about, having sex and this and this. And okay, first off, you don't find that out without checking those things out. And if that's not what you're looking for, you delete it and you move on. Guess what? That's a small step in the right direction, because you didn't know.
Right.
You had no idea. Just like back to the exercise. You didn't know that eating this thing was going to cause you to retain water. So you gained 2 pounds in a day, or 4 pounds in a day. And you're like, holy shit, what the hell happened? Well, I ate those really salty and it didn't seem like it was that much, but coupled with the other things I ate, wasn't good for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're looking at a number on the scale,
right.
It's a different kind of metric, right?
Yep.
The same is for trying to make changes in your personal relationship, love life. And that requires you to put yourself out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean you have to put yourself out there every day, all day, because you're right. Some of those apps suck. Some of the bars that you go to suck to meet people.
Some people suck.
So lots of people suck, or suck for you, right?
Yeah.
So if you try to do all of it, because you're like, you know what, this year I'm getting hitched, I'm finding me a spouse, you're probably going to become disappointed unless you get lucky. And getting lucky is not as common as striking out is, you know?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, right. It just doesn't happen that way. So you have to do the little things. Plus, you become more comfortable with doing those things.
Yeah.
If it's go out to some sort of a event, like we've mentioned in the past, maybe it's a hobby you have and you go find a group that has that and you go hang out with them and you meet some folks. Okay, great. You just did something you never did before and you met some other folks that you wouldn't have normally met. And you don't know. The person that you're looking for might be in that group or might be related to somebody in that group, and they go, hey, if you keep showing up, they might go, so you have to take those steps. You have to take and make those steps, and they're little things. So I guess the whole point of this episode is it comes down to goals. What's your goal? But know that those little steps are realistic and achievable.
Yeah.
And
actually
can be
healthier.
Successful.
I feel like that's healthier anyways.
Right.
The little ones. That's the whole, I think the other thing we talked about, the whole point of it was also, there's so many people that buy a house. They're a first time home buyer.
Yeah.
And it's a young couple. Both of them still live with their parents, with their families. Yeah. They don't pay any rent or anything like that. And then all of a sudden they go buy a $700,000 house and their mortgage payment is $5,000 a month.
Right.
And even if you're splitting it, that's still $2,500 that you don't normally pay out every month as a person. So, and what about all the other things that you like to do that you were doing before when you lived at home? So I don't understand what happened in 34 years of writing loans, of doing mortgages. I don't understand, because when I started, people would buy their starter home. they would buy the smaller home for the two of them.
Right.
And then a couple years down the road, maybe they get married, maybe they already were married, maybe now they have kids or whatever, another kid comes their way, whatever's happening. And they got money from the sale. Now you buy the next house with the proceeds. It's almost like a guaranteed savings account for you from the equity.
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those things that I don't understand where that, but again, it goes to instead of just doing it in the levels or the steps, it's like everybody wants to go right to the grandiose.
Yeah, of course.
The gestures, when someone makes a gesture, if it's not a grand gesture, it's not good enough. If someone does something small for you, oh, you did something small for me. When people say that to me, I did something small for you, I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And nobody ever knows how to answer.
No.
Oh, well, it was just a little, okay, but you still put effort,
right?
And you still thought of me and did something for me. I don't measure it big or small. Right. I say thank you for doing that for me or thinking about me. Because I think, again, it's the wording and it's the limitations that people put with the locked in mindsets.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I had a thought in there. I lost it, but yeah, I can't remember what it was. Oh well.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm old. What do you want?
Please.
Yeah, I think it's just so important to realize that we have to be. It's two sides, right? It's two sides to the coin: the accountability coin or the goal. Let's call the coin the goal coin, right? Mm-hmm. It's one side is being kind to yourself and being kind and patient, giving yourself some grace. It's all on that one side of coin. This is 12-sided coin, so just pay attention here. No, so one side has to be loving yourself, more or less, right?
The whole world changes.
Correct. And then the other side is holding yourself accountable. Mm-hmm. So giving yourself grace doesn't mean giving yourself a free pass every time you decide to fucking just eat a half a gallon of ice cream, right? When you're talking about wanting to be healthy.
Right.
Now, I love ice cream, so I'm not judging you for eating a half a gallon of ice cream. I would fucking love to do it too. But you're not going to stand in front of me and tell me how you can't lose weight or you're trying so hard to lose weight and you ate a half gallon of fucking ice cream.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
And I'm not going to let you get away with it. I'll be like, well, you just ate a half gallon of ice cream, right? You were talking about houses, and that's what it was. The same friend group, the one couple bought a house this year. They bought an old house this year, over the summer. So, and they've spent the last 6 months fixing it up. Mm-hmm. A lot of money to fix it up.
Yeah.
And get it to where they want it to be. And it's pretty much there. I know there's updates and other things that they're going to want to do over time, but they did a lot of shit up front and they're exhausted now.
Yeah.
And I understand why they're exhausted. The house looks fantastic.
Oh my God. It's very homey.
It's very proud. They're very proud of the fact that they got it there.
Yeah.
I don't think they anticipated the amount of work.
Yeah.
But they got there. Now they can start focusing back on other stuff. Yeah. And that was part of it. They're saying, well, we need to eat better. Well, yeah, they're like, we never have time for anything. Well, no shit. You bought an old house because that's what you wanted, that style, that old style house. And you wanted to fix it up in your style, but be true to the history of the house. That takes work and time and money. So yeah, you're working extra hours to fucking pay for that shit. So when you have to work extra hours, do overtime to get the extra money, and then you have to put the work in the house, there's not going to be a lot of time for other things.
Right.
Or it's going to take you longer to get it done. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
Do you want it all right now? Or
we all want it all right now.
I know, but it's not feasible.
Of course
it's not feasible.
I know.
And my words to them, and they were making fun of me because I was being, dad-like, I guess, was you spent all this time. Give yourself a break.
Yeah.
You can focus on this other shit now. You can do it. It's just, what did you expect to happen? In the same, going back to your question about how we got there. I don't think people with houses, you brought up the point of why everybody goes to the Taj Mahal. I think a lot of them if you stayed home, you're probably living in a house that's big, and you got used to living in a house that's big. So when you go get your starter home, it's either a fixer upper, that is a big house, but it's going to take a lot of work to get it to where you need it to be, or it's a small house. It's a starter home that needs a little love. You need to make it your own. It's not going to be giant. It's going to be 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, or 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, maybe. Not going to be a giant house. So they've gotten used to living a certain way, and they were not taught that this is how things happen.
Yeah.
They feel like they should, and some people feel like they deserve it. Okay. I'm not saying you don't deserve nice things, but it just doesn't happen like that.
Right.
It's not realistic. And actually, I shouldn't say that. You gave the example. They go buy a $700,000 house. You can get it. But guess what? Now all of your money is going to that, and you don't get to do shit else.
Right.
Oh, you want cable? I don't think so.
Well, or you can't go on vacation or go do as many things as
you're going to cook at home.
Yeah.
It's going to be hamburger helper, which I love, by the way, cheeseburger macaroni. It's beef stroganoff.
I can honestly say I never had hamburger helper.
Oh my God, Tina.
No, my mom did not allow that stuff in
our
house. Well,
there's things that, so, all right. So sidetrack here. For Christmas, we went over to your cousin's house, and you picked up a bologna for me. Yeah, I asked you to pick it up. So yeah, you don't like bologna. So she picked up a bologna so that her cousin could smoke it in the smoker or put like a little glaze on it and stuff like that. And it was just a thought because I'd seen it a zillion times. I thought it'd be good to try it. And you tried some of it.
I did.
Right? I grew up on the shit. I grew up on not smoked bologna. We never did that. There was, what the hell was smoking? We didn't do that back then.
Exactly.
But I grew up on it. I love the shit. I love Oscar Mayer hot dogs, right? I just put one on earlier. We made some mac and cheese, and I threw a hot dog on a bun. I didn't even heat it up, and I ate that fucking thing. And I don't care what anybody thinks, but the cheeseburger macaroni now from Hamburger Helper is going to have to be something we try because it's not something we have to make all the time. It's not an amazing thing for you to be eating because there's probably plenty of sodium. For you. Well, it's delicious. Just like steakums were delicious too, but they're gross. Anyway, back on track.
Steakums.
So steakums, yes. Back on track. There's something that's going to be sacrificed. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you think you should get to the finish line right away, whether it's in buying a house, a relationship, whatever, if you want to be married, you can get married. You can find any motherfucker out there that wants to marry you very easily.
Yeah.
But you aren't going to be happy.
Right.
So yeah, you can get to the finish line right away. But like you said earlier, it sounds cliche, but it's the goddamn journey that gets you there. Well, because it's the journey.
And sometimes the finish line comes sooner. Sometimes the finish line comes later.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to walk, and sometimes you're jogging, and sometimes you're sprinting.
Right.
That's part of all of it, though.
As the part of the same journey.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And that's the part I think that we miss out on. And you don't really learn that until you're a little bit older, unfortunately. I feel like I was lucky. I started to learn that in my 30s, but I still wasn't surrounded by necessarily the same like people that would have promoted that more for me versus, like they weren't bad people. They just didn't see it that way. Sure. And unfortunately you just kind of go along with, whoever you're around, it makes your journey longer because you're doing it, but you're doing it around other people's time, around other people's ways, whatever. So that's what I was going to say was what's funny is here's the finish line. We all might have that same goal to get to the finish line, but we all have different paths to get there.
Right.
I mean, that's the reality. I mean, in anything in life, as far as that goes. And just because some people are lucky and get to go, like I'm an A to B person, like I want to get A to B as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I've learned over the years, sometimes you can't go A to B. There's a, big pothole in the road or sinkhole in the road, or
detour.
a tree fell down, or something where you have to either go around it, smash through it, whatever has to happen. Those are the things, and those are the things that make us stronger people, because you also showed yourself that you care about yourself enough that you can do those things, and you want to be able to do them by yourself. Because you always have yourself no matter what. And if, as we said in the last podcast, as long as you know you can count on yourself, what's great is that the people that are in your life are there because you want them there, not because you need them there.
Right.
That is one of the most freeing things in the world for yourself. And it also shows you that you're in charge of all those things, right? So think about the people who are dependent on things, dependent on a spouse, dependent on the government, dependent on their boss, whatever you're dependent on. When you have that dependency to another person, for whatever reason, you have the dependency, is if something happens, that person doesn't like what you did or said, or they die, or something happens where what the fuck are you supposed to do?
Right.
And that's what I always try to tell people when we talk about independence. Doesn't mean you walk around being like, yeah, fuck you, I don't need anybody. Like, that's kind of stupid when you hear people say that. It's good for you. You feel that way. You don't have to say it out loud.
I probably don't feel that way, but yeah.
Right, exactly. But to say that that every day you're waking up and you're choosing the people around you, you're choosing the person you wake up next to, you're choosing the family, you're choosing that's real power for you. And that's always teaching yourself how important you are. And I think those are the things, again, the small changes every day. You wake up in the morning and you decide to have gratitude in the morning. That doesn't take a lot, but guess what? You're going to see the changes, because every morning you wake up and you say a quick thank you for this, thank you for that, thank you for this.
Right.
And then it rolls into your day where you're smiling at people. They smile back, whatever. You do a little something nice. Like, again, it's those little changes, and all those little changes add up to big changes across the big picture.
And you have an appreciation when you've gone through that process. I'm not saying you go, I'm better because I did all this hard shit. But for yourself, you can look at it and be proud of the fact that you went through all of these things, you made the right decisions, and you got there because you had focus.
Yep.
And you took the time to embrace it. I didn't let you said this earlier when we were talking about title names. One of them was trust the process. I fucking hate that thing, right? Trust the process. We just saw something that was on one of the shows or something. Somebody kept saying trust the process over and over again. I'm like, Jesus, shut up already. But the reality is that that journey is what makes you who you are.
100%. When
you get there. If you go from living at home to buying a McMansion, for $700,000, what do you have to show for it? How did you get there? Now, there's caveats to that. If you spent a lot of time staying at home, helping your parents pay for their house or giving them money towards the house and working a shit ton of overtime and stuff to save money to buy that perfect house, okay, there's a hard road there, right?
Yeah.
There's some sacrifice.
Well, and that might have always been their goal, was to buy a big house.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. So there's nothing wrong with people getting good things and having them and earning them. There's nothing wrong with that.
I was just saying that a lot of people don't.
No,
they go right
point.
to that, and then they fail at it, quote unquote, fail at it.
Right.
I've seen a lot of people that ended up having to sell their houses because it was too much.
The
taxes went up, or this happened, or that happened, and they're like, I just couldn't.
We're talking
it was
about
too much house for me.
The right way.
Correct.
And nothing wrong with that. If you do something the proper way, you allow yourself to experience those things and figure them out. And this is a different podcast, but one thing at a time, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is that's actually going to be a good podcast, I think, one thing at a time, because nobody does it. Nobody thinks about it. They can't. I know you're making
you mean
a
like
face.
Me today with dropping the egg on the
Yeah,
floor.
we'll talk
in the
about
water.
that. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. We're not going to spoil that for people. We'll leave them hanging for that.
Now they know
right
part
now,
of it is
right?
I dropped an egg on the floor.
That's right. Oh shit. But yeah, I think it's important to just take those things a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And you will win. Mm-hmm. You will win.
100%.
You know, most people aren't trying to be Olympic swimmers. So, you know, at 50, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to get better and be a little bit more successful at one thing or another or several things.
Yeah.
And, you know, you don't paint like Picasso without practice.
Right.
You don't get to run the marathon tomorrow when you fucking haven't run in 5 years. You know, it ain't going to happen. You're going to die.
Well, that's because we're watching all the people who are successful at it and comparing ourselves. And I said that to someone today. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
Because it fucking is.
You did. And going back to that, what we said a little while ago is those people that you are, I'll say respecting. I'm not going to say idolizing, right? I'm going to say respecting because they can run a marathon in 3 hours or 3.5 hours or whatever. I don't even know what a good marathon time is anymore. But let's say 3.5 hours.
Sounds good to me.
You have respect for that person for being able to do that. What you don't appreciate is their journey to get there. Because all you get to see is that that's what they're doing to get this done. You didn't get to see all of the sacrifice, the tears. You know, this is why I like, and I haven't seen anything from him in a while. So either my Instagram algorithm's fucked or he hasn't posted anything. But David Goggins.
Yeah, it's been a while.
David Goggins is a motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
He just is. And his book was fantastic. You know, some people want to argue about his credentials or whatever, and other people have vouched for him, you know, whatever. You cannot say that guy doesn't have a level of determination that most people don't have.
Yep.
But you also get to see it. He will tell you it's hard.
Yep.
All of this is fucking hard. He doesn't he doesn't break world records doing pull-ups and ripping the skin off of his hands because he never did any pull-ups.
Right.
No, it's because he spent the last 3 months doing as many fucking pull-ups as he can throughout the day so that he can break that world record.
Right.
You know, he will literally tell you, yeah, it's hard, but you know what? It's worth it.
Yeah.
We try to sit on the couch and we try to make life too easy and we try to be, pussies about it and expect it. And he's like, you can't do that.
Right.
It's just not going to happen, you know, unless everybody keeps handing it to you. And then you know what? You don't feel like you accomplished anything when you got it. There's no satisfaction in it.
No, because it was literally handed to you.
It's just like, real fast, and we can end this bullshit. I saw a video, and I know this is, you know, of course, we watch a lot of the Gen X videos because we're Gen Xers, right? And we're like, oh yeah, we're the best fucking generation. But it was a Gen X. It was actually not necessarily Gen X related. It was related to video games. And it said kids who played video games in the late 80s and through the 90s, where video games really came about, was they have a better time dealing with certain things than kids that played them in the late 90s through the 2000s because the games changed. When we played games, like using Super Mario Brothers, for example, you got 3 fucking lives, and then you got a few continues. And then if you use those 3 lives and then you did, you know, however many continues you got and you died all of those times, you didn't make it through all 8 levels of the fucking game, you had to start all over.
Right.
You had to start all over.
Right.
That shit was hard. And I know I'm talking about a video game being hard. It wasn't physically hard, but...
No, but you didn't get all the chances.
It wasn't given to you.
Right.
Right? Now you play video games, it gives you a little hint. Oh, look, a highlight up here. I bet you there's something up there.
Or
go get the thing. Right. Go get the thing up there. Now go do this. Now go do this.
Yeah.
And, it auto-saves. It auto-saves. So when you go back into the game, even though you got killed 400,000 fucking times, you go back in and, oh, I'm going to start halfway through the game today because I already did all this other stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, the game kind of walked you through it.
It made me laugh because I'm thinking about when my sister and I got Pitfall for Christmas one year on the Atari, and it was during Christmas vacation. We stayed up like all night and fucking played that game over and over and over. And I remember she always went to the right to play just like everyone else did. And then one day I accidentally hit my controller on the first screen and he went to the left. And I go, wait, what? You could go left? So I started going left. So like when I jumped over the crocodiles, I wasn't facing their mouths. I was jumping on the back of their heads. So it was like everything was opposite, but I was collecting more stuff. It was amazing. But what's funny, what you just made me laugh at is I remember playing for like an hour and a half of my life, which when you're a kid, when you're 10, 11 years old, that's a long time.
Right.
And then dying and the whole game is over and you got to fucking start all over again. So yes.
It's devastating.
Well, what it also did though was brought on more determination because you knew, and it also was really good on your memory. You remembered how many screens you were to get the diamond ring and how many, whatever you did 100%. Or whatever. So I feel like I'm going to agree with whoever said that. I'm going to agree with that because it didn't give us the opportunity to become soft.
Yeah. They made it easier. I know why they did it. It's to keep people engaged.
Of course.
Game, right?
If it's too hard, people won't do it.
Correct. And they give up. And I understand it. And nobody wants to finish a damn game more than me, right?
Yeah.
I would want to finish the game too. I want to see how it ends. I want to get through it all.
Yeah.
And the games have more story now, but they also ultimately are, while they're more advanced in a lot of ways, they've also made it a little bit easier in a lot of ways in the fact that you don't have to start all over.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
I can't even imagine. The meltdown little Timmy would have if he was playing a fucking PlayStation 5 game and you had to start all over because you were out of continues.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the fit that's... I would get a 911 call because little Timmy is losing his fucking mind in the house and mommy doesn't know how to control him because he had a bad day on the PlayStation. Like literally that's what would happen. And I say that in all honesty because that is what happens. It is what happens. There's so many stories we could tell you about that shit. But anyway, we're not ragging on it. It's just different, but it does change mentality.
It does.
When you grow up a certain way. We laugh about latchkey kids being able to being let in your house. You had to let yourself in the house, so the key was hidden, or you took a key with you because both your parents were working now, or you only had one parent and that parent had to work. So but that's the hard stuff. That was the whole entire point, was using Goggins as a reference. He does shit and it's hard, but when he gets done, God damn, does he feel great about it?
Oh God, yeah.
Because he feels accomplished. He achieved something. It just wasn't handed to him. He earned every last bit of that.
Well, that's how we all feel if we give ourselves the opportunity.
Right. And I don't think...
Even the little ones, though.
Yeah.
The little things.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're a smoker and you normally smoke a pack of cigarettes a day,
right,
and you only smoked half a pack today, instead of ragging on yourself that you still smoked half a pack, it's no, I only smoked half a pack today.
Correct. Right.
Because you literally cut yourself in half in one day.
Right.
That's amazing. And then you just keep going from there.
Right. And my point with Goggins wasn't we don't all have to be extreme like Goggins, but we have to be able to take pride in the effort that we're putting forth,
and that's the thing.
And achieving our goals.
Show yourself that you're, when you have to show
yourself
you're important by putting in the effort. That's
100%.
Part of the problem. You can't expect, but you're expecting everyone else around you to be putting all this effort and pouring in everything into you, but you're not pouring it into yourself.
Right.
That does not last. That is not sustainable, and that is not a good idea.
Right. I agree.
So
anyway.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Be nice to yourselves.
Yes.
We'll see.
Hope you get all
soon.
your goals ready and
go kick their asses.
Yeah. One day at a time.
That's right.
Bye.
Bye.